Oh, old school comic book reviews. I didn't really plan on doing another one of these so soon, but I'm trying to get my camera to work here. So um, let's give it a shot here. Big comic book that I got today was Action Comics #1, Grant Morrison and Rags Morales. I actually enjoy this comic book a lot. I really like the story. I like the art a lot. We're getting a kind of a different take on Superman, kind of going back to the old idea that back in the 30s and 40s, Superman was really more of a hero of the people, a hero of the little guy, as opposed to how by the 50s he had kind of turned into, the voice of authority, the establishment guy or whatever. But here you see him kind of running afoul of like policemen and, kind of threatening, corrupt businessmen and things like that. Let's see here. I'm just trying to show you some of the art without giving too much of it away. Here he is threatening a corrupt businessman right here. Oh, you get this here. You get this old school Superman kind of emblem going on down there. At first I wasn't too sure what I was gonna think of this, with the whole, rolled up jeans and his Timberlands and whatever. But it's pretty good. You get a fresh take on Lex Luthor and Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen. And like I said, it's very much the idea that Clark Kent is a crusading reporter. He's out there to right wrongs and things like that. This is kind of what I kind of wanted Justice League #1 to be more like, whereas you could just give this to like somebody who doesn't normally read comics and they could understand it and get everything that's going on in it by the end of the issue. Plus you get a fresh new take for people who've been reading comics for a while. When I got to the end, I don't know where the next issue is going. I don't know what's going to be in the next chapter, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. So I heartily recommend this comic. It was lots of fun. This is what I was expecting out of the new DC 52 reboot. So that's a good one there. Next thing, Batgirl. I've seen other places it's gotten kind of mixed to good, mixed to fair reviews. It's okay. It's Barbara Gordon back as Batgirl, and they still have the thing where she's been shot by the Joker. The whole killing joke apparently is still in continuity here, so I'm glad they have that. One interesting aspect of the story is they play with the idea that she's a little gun shy after getting back into action, because she was wounded once by a villain, and that could very well happen again. I kind of like the art. I'm not so sure what I think of this this costume here with this kind of rubber looking thing or whatever. But we'll see. Once again, pretty decent introductory issue. You get to see Barbara take out some bad guys. One thing though, it is very different. There's some more art. It's very different in tone if you contrast it to the Stephanie Brown series that just ended. I gotta admit, I think I admitted in another video that I was kind of late to the party as far as jumping on the Stephanie Brown bandwagon. But here's some more art. What else? Oh, Sinestro. You have your own comic book. We'll talk about that some other time. But it's very different in tone, where that comic book was very lighthearted and fast-paced. This one's pretty fast-paced too, but it has a kind of a somber, grim tone to it. And I guess that makes sense, like I said, considering what Barbara's gone through. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm also kind of, how do I want to put this? I'm kind of with the fans too, who are kind of like, okay, previous to the relaunch, we had a perfectly good Batgirl, we had a perfectly good Batwoman, and we now we have a void uh, by making Barbara taking away from being the Oracle and making her, Batgirl again, because as Oracle, she was a lot more interesting and unique of a character than she ever was as Batgirl. And I don't know, I'm kind of the mind that I think DC did this probably just because Barbara Gordon Batgirl is the character that people who don't normally read comics probably remember from all the cartoon shows. And all the cartoon shows, it's always been Barbara. Um, and so maybe they think they'll get people who watch the TV shows or whatever. I don't know. Another thing I wanted to get this week was Ammo Man, but it was sold out. So what else did I buy? I bought Lady Mechanica 2 from Aspen Studios. Kind of a steampunk thing. I didn't finish reading it. I looked at some of the art. Kind of interesting looking. Aspen, of course, was the company that the late Michael Turner started. So let's see here. So like I said, I haven't gotten around to finishing yet, but it's pretty interesting. What's something else that's cool looking in here? Oh, here. It's a cool spread. This came out a while back ago. But like I said, I just bought this basically because I couldn't get the other thing I was looking for. Another thing I got from Image Comics, Lil Depressed Boy. Basically, this is about a guy and he's little and he's depressed. It's very, I don't know what I want to say here. It has a very indie rock feel to it. If I was a little bit younger, I'd probably be all over it. If I was still in my 20s, I'd be all over this comic book. It's basically about what happens in this issue, from what I understand, is this guy, oops, fuck, I can't even hold shit right anymore. This guy has broken up with this woman, and this guy's buddy, and to cheer him up, see, this girl actually already had a boyfriend or something, so they broke up, and to cheer him up, his buddy takes him out to lunch, and then they're going to go on a road trip to go see some band or something. But then at the very end of the story, they get stopped by the police, and my guy here has warrants out on him, and that's the end of the issue. And Lil Depressed Boy is left stranded on the road somewhere. Kind of interesting, kind of attempt to doing kind of a little poignant, like indie rock thing. Like I said, interesting enough art. I'd say check it out if you want something, a little bit different. And here's a pinup, Little Depressed Boy. Little Depressed Boy. He's in bed. He's sleeping with his favorite records. It's Sleater Kinney. Ah, isn't that touching? Okay, that's something. What else here? Finally did get around to reading Batman Incorporated number 8. It's Batman versus Tron. It's pretty fun. Punisher number 2. Just solid, superhero crime drama type stuff. Written by Greg Rucka. Pretty good. I did buy, actually I bought these last week, but I haven't gotten around to reading them. Butcher Baker, Righteous Maker, number 5, and number 6. I have caught up to issue 4, but I haven't read those yet. Oh, but speaking of Joe Casey, somebody tell me, has anybody read this comic? It's called Automatic Kafka. It's written by Joe Casey and it's drawn by Ashley Wood. And I guess what the story is, has to do with this guy who was in this weird superhero team, and he's trying to make a comeback or something like that, but he becomes caught up in this whole celebrity world. And it's kind of a satire, kind of a deconstructionist superhero. Fucking camera. There we go. Deconstructionist type of superhero story, I guess. This particular issue is kind of a spoof. There's kind of these adult characters, and it seems like these characters are actually based on the adult versions of like the Peanuts gang. I bought this on a whim. There's only like I guess well, there's less than a dozen issues. I think there's only like six, seven, eight, 9 issues, something like that. This is what some of the art looks like. But if anybody out there has read that, you know, please tell me what you think. This was interesting enough for me, but I'm curious as to what other people think. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm just trying to see if I can get my camera to work again. If I can, I'll probably be doing a couple other videos. If not, then I guess I won't. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good one.